A mask on the guy, connected to a Hitachi blower which he sourced in Japan, and you could have run your swimming pool on it. And it sounded like a freight train. And I said, "What's going on here?" He said, "We're taking room temperature air. We've got a filter to keep out cockroaches. We bring the air in, and we just send it up through this tube, and it was a big tube, and it looked like an inverted toilet seat. And at that time, if you had a leak, you'd go, 'How's that? Still leaking? How's that?' Anyway, there was a guy I worked with at Baxter. His name was Will Peary. And Will was an electrical engineer, I think Ohio State or whatever, and he used to work for American Hospital Supply. And he was a very bright guy running Baxter's technology inventions thing. So when we were setting up the Baxter Center for Medical Research, I asked Will to come over, so he came over. And I said, "Listen, I'm going to tell you what our plans are, what we're doing, and I want you to tell me if you think we're drinking our bath water." He said, "Oh, we'll do that." And then he said at the end of it, he said, "Now listen, let me give you a bit of advice." And I said, "Okay." He said, "Always look for the fatal flaw first test." He said, "Get to that boundary condition where you hope that puppy's going to work, get there for the minimum amount of money, minimum amount of effort." And he said, "And if it works, put the big bucks in and your time and effort." So I'm thinking in those terms, and I said to Colin, what's exactly happening here? He said, "Well, as you breathe, of course, you create negative pressure, and you get suction, obviously, and if you have a very floppy airway, the airway will close, and then you'll need a bazooka to open it, unless the patient wakes up, which they generally do." And he said, "So what we've got here," he said, "I'm using," he said, "this is a bit over-designed." And I said, "Wow, over-designed." And he said, "Look, the pressure at the nares is about 10 centimetres of water." And I said, "Gee, 10 centimetres of water." And quickly, what's atmospheric pressure? 1 atmosphere, very good. Anyway, 760 millimetres of mercury, convert that. Mercury's got a density of 13, convert that to centimetres of water, it's about 1,020. And I thought, my God, this is 1% of atmospheric pressure. So right then I knew that the only way you could get injured was to smash the guy over the head with the Hitachi blower. And I said, "Wow." I said, and he said, "All it's doing," he said, "it's an air splint, and it's only 1% of atmospheric pressure." And I thought, God, it's... So I said, "How many people do you think suffer from this?" And he said, "Oh, we're not totally sure," but he said, "I think it's about 2% of the population." And I was coming from Baxter, where the prevalence of kidney disease was, give or take, roughly 0.2, and we had $1 billion business. So as an MIT educated engineer, I went 0.2, 2 billion, 10 billion. I thought, wow, even if it's only 5, that's actually not too bad.